What's up, everyone? So I'm assuming we all just finished watching that game between the New Orleans Saints and the Tennessee Titans, and I'm not going to lie, it was a decent game overall. First of all, before we get into how I feel about the game, I want to go ahead and congratulate Michael Thomas, which I put his jersey up for this special occasion. Had to take Breezes off after his record-breaking performance last week. Michael Thomas broke the single receiving record for most receptions in a season this week against the Tennessee Titans. He needed 11. I believe he got 12 this game to not only tie the record, pass the record, and then up the record by one. Yes, he got 12 receptions. So he finished this game with 145 receptions on the season, which is absolutely fantastic. Congratulations to Michael Thomas. I know he's probably never going to see this, but still, very proud of you. I'm going to say it, and I can't say it right now. I think a lot of us are thinking this. Michael Thomas is now the best wide receiver in franchise history for the New Orleans Saints. Some of you may be saying, okay, he already was, but you can't just write off Marcus Colston like that. But this dude has earned it. He's absolutely insane. It's like no matter what people do, Michael Thomas cannot be stopped. He cannot be guarded. He's untamable. You can't do anything about him. He will always get his receptions no matter what. He always helps the team. He had a touchdown on the day as well. A record-breaking performance from Michael Thomas, and I couldn't be happier. We got to experience it versus the Colts last week. I just had a brain fart, and now this week another record has been broken. The Saints are just history makers at this point. So the New Orleans Saints ended up winning the football game 38-28, which could be a surprise to most, judging by how the game went at the beginning. It was awful. The New Orleans Saints played the entire first quarter without scoring a point, going down 14-0 to the Tennessee Titans, which is absolutely insane. The Tennessee Titans are now 8-7. We are 12-3. And now I'm not trying to take away from the fact that the New Orleans Saints played a good game offensively, a decent game defensively, including all of the injuries, an amazing special teams game. Super Bowl teams don't start like that. And now I know you guys may be hounding at me, telling me not to be negative during a time like this where I'm supposed to be happy because of all the records and everything. Super Bowl teams don't go down 0-14 in the first quarter of games. If we go down 0-14 to somebody in the playoffs, we might not come back. We put up 10 points in the second quarter, holding the Titans to nothing to bring the score to 10-14. Scored 21 points in an explosive third quarter to put us up, and then held the Titans to 7. Scored 7 in the fourth, and then Titans scored 7 in the fourth, leaving the final score at 38-28, a 10-point New Orleans Saints victory. So like I said, great win and all, but you cannot win the Super Bowl if you start games like that. 0-14, that's ridiculous. I will never get over that. But the New Orleans Saints did their job and ended up winning this game. So first you have Drew Brees, who was efficient, but not nearly as efficient as he was last week. But that was like a once-in-a-lifetime performance by him. 27 for 38, 279 yards, 3 touchdowns. He got sacked 3 times, but he still played a fantastic game. Taysom Hill threw a pass as well. He was 1 for 2, 20 yards. One of the passes he'd thrown was a fake punt and was dropped by Justin Hardy. Should have been a completion. Insane that it wasn't. So sad that it wasn't. That would have been the nail in the coffin right there, but he dropped it. As far as the running backs go, Alvin Kamara had his resurging game. Big Boy Jinx TV actually called this in our prediction game, saying that Alvin Kamara was going to break out this week. Now, he didn't have the most yards ever, but that was never the problem. Nobody cares about Alvin Kamara's yardage. He gets 50 to 100 yards every game. That's fine, but he has struggled to get into the end zone, and this week he broke his 9-week drought for not scoring since the Seattle Seahawks game and put the ball in the end zone twice. Thank God, because it's just in time. I know he doesn't care about our fantasy teams, but just in time for the fantasy championship. I started him. I went out on a whim. I was like, should I bench him? Should I not? I started him, and he paid dividends. So Alvin Kamara had 11 carries for 80 yards, 2 touchdowns. Still want to see him get more carries, but he still performed given what he had. Latavius Murray had an off game, 7 carries, 14 yards, 2 yards per carry. A miserable game by him. And yeah, that's about it from there. New Orleans receiving, as you know, Michael Thomas had a fantastic game, an absolutely ridiculous game. 12 receptions, 136 yards, 11.3 yards per catch, 1 touchdown. He had 17 targets. This dude is, I cannot tell you how insane he is more than I already have. Jared Cook had another big game as well. I started him in fantasy too. Bless up. Thank you, God. 3 receptions from Jared Cook, 84 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Jared Cook is insane. I'm so glad we got this guy. If we go look at Jared Cook's season stats, he hasn't been bad. He really hasn't. He started off a bit slow, but after what, I think it was like the Jaguars game, he really picked up and became something that we've needed. He has 577 yards and 6 touchdowns on the year. Absolutely insane. I don't think the others got factored in yet, but he's been great. He really has. I couldn't be happier with him. But like I said, yeah, Alvin Kamara, 6 receptions for 30 yards. I'm not really going to cover the receiving end that much because it's just Michael Thomas breaking that record. Our defense actually played surprisingly well. Now, they didn't play amazing, but you got to think about it. We're missing Kiko Alonso. Von Bell, our starting safety, is out, who Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has done a great job replacing. Janoris Jenkins had an okay game, a bit of a shaky one. It was raining. It was slippery. His first game as a New Orleans Saint ever. So, of course, there's going to be a couple of hiccups there. Patrick Robinson had a decent game. There were some hiccups, but for a majority of the time, he played a very good football game. Demario Davis was our leading tackler with 11. He had a sack, 2 tackles for loss, and a pass defended. This game just printed the ticket, the receipt, for me ordering a Demario Davis jersey. The dude is absolutely insane. I can't be happier with how he's produced since coming to New Orleans. One of the most underrated linebackers in the league, top 3 in my opinion. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson had 8 tackles, a tackle for loss. Patrick Robinson was the 3rd leading tackler with 6 tackles, a tackle for loss, and a pass defended. Cameron Jordan had 4 tackles, a sack. Let's go. 14.5 on the year for him and a tackle for loss. A.J. Klein actually showed up and had a very good game. 3 total tackles, 2 sacks, a pass defended, and a tackle for loss. So shout out to A.J. Klein. He did his thing for sure. The other players with sacks were Shy Tuttle. You know I love when he does work. King Tut. And that's it. So, not the greatest game defensively, allowing 28 points to Ryan Tannehill, allowing him to complete, let's see what it was, 17 out of 27 of his attempts, 272 yards, 3 touchdowns, 133.6 rating. Not the best game defensively, but given the fact that a lot of people are looking over these injuries that we have, a starting safety, a starting linebacker, 2 defensive linemen that start, it's a bit difficult. Eli Apple also got injured. I forgot to mention that somehow, but Eli Apple also got injured during the game. He ended up getting carted off with an ankle injury, which is why Patrick Robinson was in the game. Patrick Robinson was actually a good improvement. Not improvement, but he was a good replacement, and actually kind of the defensive tempo stepped up as soon as Eli Apple left, which is sad to say, but that's what happened. But yeah, the defense played okay. They played as good as, as an offense like this needs them to play. But going into the playoffs, we're definitely going to require the defense to step up more than that. I think when we're fully healthy, it's a completely different story. Our injured defense really doesn't tell the tale, and a lot of people don't understand that. I think we'll be just fine. We just got to get going on all cylinders. I forgot to mention, but Deontay Harris, if you've watched this deep into the video, Deontay Harris had an absolutely insane game. He did have a fumble, but he recovered it. Let me go look at his kick returns. So he returned 4 kicks for 150 yards with a 37.5 average and a 47-yard long return. That's insane. 150 kick return yards. It got to the point where the Titans were literally squib kicking it just so players like, I think it was Dwayne Washington, would have to return it instead of Deontay Harris. That is so good. All of these years of being stuck with rumbling, tumbling, fumbling. What was his name? Tommy Lee Lewis was our returner. Deontay Harris has come in and made such a big difference. He is a fantastic kick returner. 154 yards on 4 returns. My God, Deontay Harris. Keep that play up. You're a Pro Bowler for a reason. Our 1 turnover was caused by a very death blow hit from Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. A tackle made by him and Janoris Jenkins forced the ball loose, and we ended up recovering it. That pretty much just put the game on ice. But wow, a lot to talk about. But this team played against all odds, and it's not like against all odds as in other people were putting us in that position. We put ourselves in that position, and against all odds, we overcame us shooting ourselves in the foot and won. I'd like to go over one last thing before I hang this video up, and I wanted it to be last because I'm not trying to make it something that it isn't. I'm not trying to say that it's obvious like that it's being done to us on purpose, but the first half of the game was absolutely ridiculous. Through the first quarter and half of the second quarter, the New Orleans Saints had 9 penalties, some of which were extremely questionable. They finished the game with 11 for 70 yards, but it was still insane the rate they were being thrown in the first half and then just stopped. They just disappeared. It was insane. We were getting bombarded with penalties. Holding. Illegal hands to the face. Holding. Illegal hands to the face. Whatever else. Illegal shift. False start. It was ridiculous. And I'm so glad that we cleaned that up. I don't know if that's a us thing, a ref thing, but it's like every time I seen that dude. I think his name is Jerome Boger. Look him up. Every time I see him out on the field reffing one of our games, he does a terrible job. And that's it. He's not a good referee. Anyway, that's all I really got to say. Let me know what you guys think about the New Orleans Saints. Okay victory against the Tennessee Titans. I think it was a little bit ugly, but winning is winning. And, you know, when you win, you get a good feeling of winning. It feels good. So, yeah, make sure to let me know what you guys think of the win down below. If you guys think that it was too close, not close enough, like what do you think? The Titans were battling for playoff hope, for their playoff dreams, so make sure to keep that in mind when thinking about this game. I'll see you boys in the next one. Let me know down in the comments. Adios, everyone.